I think we're pretty much tired of hearing the word AI, generative AI, and technology. That things are moving fast, things are changing. We're all tired of hearing that. But what is really important is for us to understand exactly now, because now we're getting to a point where it's no longer about what's possible. What might it look like? What are there's lots of things that we've heard over and over again. It's now getting to the point where we know how to use it. We can see where to use it, where not to use it. But also, most importantly, I think we are now really at the cusp of getting into the space where everybody's going to start getting into this. And this is now all about skills. It's all about learning to use it, learning where not to use it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm excited. Got some incredible guests, incredible topics, some really powerful insights I'm going to share with you. But for that, we need a proper intro. So, welcome to Propulsion, the weekly show for financial planners and advisors who want to build better, more successful businesses. I'm your host, Francois du Toit, and every week we dive into the practical strategies that matter, from growing your client base and improving your services to developing yourself and your team. Whether you're running your own practice or you're part of a larger firm, you are guaranteed to find actionable insights to help your business thrive. So with that, welcome, and let's get into today's episode. So I totally get it that most people, probably the majority of people, that's not backed by science, but probably the majority of people are not in love with tech like I am. And I totally get that, right? And for most people, it's really a difficult thing to think about. I don't even know how to switch on the computer, or I don't even know what the keyboard shortcuts are for copy and paste, but now you want me to learn AI and all of these things, it's like, no. And the other night I was phoning a friend of mine who had his birthday, and we've come a long way. And he's one of those guys, he's run a very successful practice, but he's never had a computer. He's never touched the computer. He never wanted, always had people who use the computers and who does the tech and things in the practice. And we were talking about, he says, I'm coming to the AI training because, you said that I don't have to use it, but I need to know what's possible. And if that's the only thing you take away from today, I think that's the most important one. This is not necessarily just about learning how to use AI, but if you run a business or you're the head of the practice and you're the leader in that practice and you are the main person that everything revolves around, then you have a responsibility to know what's possible. It's not to say that you need to go and build your own automations, that you need to use AI yourself. But if you don't know what's possible, you are really going to get left behind in this whole, I want to call it a race, which for some people say, I'm not that competitive. That's okay. It is still about that. Other businesses are moving forward. Clients are getting different experiences. Things are happening more efficiently. And somewhere that's going to become an issue if you are not on the same on the same train as that, right? So I think it's really important. Now, I will never forget when I think it's the second time in my life, the first time when something came out on the Sunday, I saw it in the newspaper, and on the Monday went out and got it. And that was when 3G came out. So it was this whole, like a card, it's a bit bigger than a credit card, but you had to stick it on the side of your laptop. There was this, I can't remember if anybody can remember what that port was called, but it was like a long port with a thin sort of card that slotted in there. And then it was a red one because it was from Vodacom. And I got 3G. And for the first time, I was mobile. I could literally, and I did many times as a broker consultant, park next to the road, do a quote, send it off, back in the car, boom, off I go. So that was sort of the first time when I just said, well, this is a thing that I need to get, and this is going to change my life. The second time basically now is with AI, because when I used it for the first time, it was just like, what is this? And probably the hardest thing for me was figuring out, what do I do with it? Everybody was saying, write me a poem, write me a this, write me a that, and then making fun of it a lot of the time, which also for some reason annoyed me a little bit. You see lots of people doing that, or even, if you're on a place like Reddit, for example, you'll see people posting some nasty things and that they really try and be annoying with these things. And like, I've got a bit of a different approach, right? But ultimately, I was just like, okay, so what is now possible. And it took me quite a long time, right? 18 months or so before I really started getting uh, all the things that we can use it for and sort of where it's good and where it's not good at the moment. But also then what took me a long time was really to get to use it well. You know, I saw an advertisement once on Facebook, like they promoted this post, right? It was an FSP that promoted this post around where this advisor, I suppose, was sitting there talking to ChatGPT and asking it a question around, you know, some financial planning aspect. And he got this very generic answer back. And they were going on about it and saying, like, see, that is exactly why you can't use AI. And this is why, because a real financial advisor would have done X, Y, and Z. And they went into this whole thing. For the first time most of my life, I wrote a comment back to say, like, you know, that's not fair because your prompt sucked. You know, the way that you spoke to it, the context you gave it, the information you gave it, that's exactly what we would do. You know, this AI isn't trained to pull things out of you. We have to offer all this information. But you know what information it would need to give a good answer. So if you only had one piece of the information, you also won't get a proper answer. You know, you won't be able to advise the client appropriately. And that sort of got me on this thing about, like, we've got to teach people how to do this properly. We've got to show people how to make the most of it. But also, as I said many times before, when do you use it and when don't you use it? Because I don't want people to use it for everything. It's not great for everything, right? So I'll share a little bit about where I do see AI playing a significant role in your business. And also, if you have been using this already and you're trying this and you're sort of experimenting with it, please share your experiences in the chat. I'm really keen to see how you find it, you know, what's working for you, what's not working for you. Please don't be shy to share. It'll be really amazing to read those comments at the end, but that's really important. Now, like anything else, right? Imagine you were able to go and buy a car, but you don't have a license. You've never driven a car before, right? And you go and you buy this amazing Lamborghini or Ferrari or top of the line sports car, whatever it might be, for whatever the reason is, right? And now you get in this car and you just want to drive off the showroom floor, but you have no license, no experience in driving, no nothing. I'm pretty sure you're going to go through a window, or you're not even going to get off the floor. It's just going to be a disaster, right? And it's going to be a danger for everybody else around you. And that's pretty much how I think about any technology for that matter. So before you do anything, and we've spoken a lot about what needs to be in place, etc. So we'll cover that in the training as well. But today I want to focus on the fact that you need the skills in order to use AI properly. That's the first and foremost step before you start choosing tools, before you start building your own custom GPTs or building AI agents or, you know, building automations and all those good things that we're doing. That's not the starting point. You've got to learn, how do you communicate with this regardless of the tool? You know, there's sort of 3 people at the moment that you can easily spot. I don't know how many people you follow on LinkedIn or other places that talks about AI, but I follow quite a bit. And you got these very helpful people who makes it very practical. Okay. They talk about, like, this is what we've done. This is what we've seen. This is what works, what doesn't work. That's very helpful. That's helpful content. Then you've got the people who just report. That's all they do. As a new blog post goes onto Anthropic's website or on OpenAI's website or on Gemini or wherever, they just go like, oh, ChatGPT is dead because Gemini is 100.45 is now out. And, you know, now Perplexity has got this, and then DeepSeek is around, and that's all they do. Now this one's dead and this is the new one, and this one is coming for that one. And that's all they're doing is just creating anxiety, and all they're trying to do is create hype and build lists so that they can sell the bloody things to other people. And that's not helpful, in my opinion. So even if you follow those people, you need to really filter out the noise around how they do things, because that is not helpful. You need to sit down and make sense of those things yourself, or you need to follow somebody who is going to make this practical for you and say, what does this mean? The other thing is that there's the tool chasers. Like, everybody's just showing the brand new tool. And the funny thing is that all those tools under the hood probably work with a combination of the 4 or 5 biggest LLMs that's out there. So you need to learn what these do, what they are good at, And how do you talk to them effectively? Like that is the absolute first step before you do anything else. Because then it doesn't matter what tool you use. Whenever I present a session, I've spoken a lot about AI this year already, did a lot of talks, workshops, and things like that. And people are like always, but what tool do you use for this? What tool do you use for that? Now I don't know where those people are at in the journey, but it's not about the tool, right? It's understanding about first and foremost, actually, what is the problem that you want to solve? What is the problem that you have? The other day, I spent an entire day with a business to go through what are the problems? Where are the frustrations, right? What is your existing tech stack? What are you using? What are you not using? What could you be using better? And what do you have that you shouldn't have? And then say, okay, so now what happens after this? Which are the things that, we use a tool where we sort of prioritize around what we should do first and then second and so on. But you then get to a plan and then you go on the learning journey and then you start implementing, right? So it's really important. It's also important to take your entire team on that journey because it doesn't help one person knowing what's going on and the rest of us don't know what's going on. So lots of stuff, right? So, and that is just my intro to today's session. But it's really important. I think, you're already fantastic at what you do. You really understand about building relationships. We see this in our professional practice assessments as well. You rate your client connection, your client relationships a lot better than any other piece of the puzzle or piece of your business or aspect of your business. And that is because we have always been a relationship-based business, a profession. That's what we are, right? It's all about that. Yes, we can make it better by changing our value propositions. Yes, we can be more efficient using technology and having teams and all that good stuff. But ultimately, you are very good at engaging with the client. So the one thing that you don't want to use AI for, I'm not saying not at all, right? I'll share with you some ideas that I've used recently that helps with the client-facing stuff. But I would never use this in that sense because that direct contact is where the value is created. That's where the relationship gets strengthened. That's where the trust is built, right? So I don't want to use AI for that, even though you could. But it is really important that, we all know with compliance that we don't have the time. When we did our surveys last year, at the end of last year, overwhelmingly, two things: finding clients and compliance. Biggest challenges for almost everybody that completed that survey. So we know that that's the problem, right? AI is the thing and automation is the thing. It's not the same thing, by the way, but those are the things that can really help you be more efficient. Yes, you can train your people. Yes, you can get more people. You can do all of those things in order to be more efficient and more productive. But AI and tech is the thing that's going to do that exponentially. You'll be able to scale that. And it's going to be a lot faster than if you wanted to train up more people. When you have people, you want to make sure that you get the most value out of them through client interactions, right? So client engagements and things like that. So those are the things that's deeply, deeply important from that point. So let me quickly just give you one example of a client-facing thing, right? So one of the aspects that we often find is that people have got questions that they frequently ask us. And if you have your value proposition documented, or you have your website, or you have all of those good things, right? You've got content. You can very easily use AI to create frequently asked questions with answers for you. And you can do it in a way that sounds like you so that the editing that you need to do afterwards is very minimal. So you can create this kind of frequently asked questions that you can just send somebody to a web page on your website, for example, to go and see an answer, like whatever questions they have. We've answered this on the website. Please see it here, etc., etc. That's what you want to do. That becomes an asset in your business. That is something that works for you on an ongoing basis. But those are the types of questions that are almost generic. It might be about your service. It might be about your fees. It might be about your process. It might be about lots of things like that. But I used it twice for that just in this month, right? One for a program and for the community itself. So we did it there. But then I also used it where people asked a lot of questions in a session, and I talk about a lot of questions, right? We had 600 people at that session. Lots of questions, right? How do you answer all of those questions? Well, first of all, you need to say, well, what were all the questions? Let's categorize them, and then let's answer them. it was a lot easier for me to go through the answers and change the ones that I didn't agree with, because a lot of those questions, there is an answer for that, right? But it took me half an hour to do something that's probably what's going to take me 3 days. Well, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, because I'm slow sometimes and I overthink. But that's the incredible power of these kinds of things. That's the productivity and the efficiency that you can unlock when you use this well. But if I wasn't able to talk to it well, if I wasn't able to instruct it well and provide the context and be clear around what I wanted to say, I wouldn't have had that outcome. And that's exactly what I experienced initially when I started with AI, is that, oh man, this sounds terrible. This looks terrible. This is not what I wanted. This is not in line with what I was envisioning when I was asking it to do something, those kinds of things. Yesterday, specifically, I used it to do research, like proper research on something. And it is incredible. It is incredible to see what it gives me, all in a concise sort of manner, so that I can really look at this. I never thought about this, or I didn't know this, or this is interesting. And then I can take that thing and research that further. So the time it takes us to learn new things and to find out new things and to compare things to each other is changing drastically, right? So it's no longer Googling and finding things, etc. So there's a lot that I'm sharing with you at this point, but my whole purpose with this is to say, well, just understand what's possible. And if you can think about, I've got an entire slide that's got, I don't know, I must actually count how many use cases there are on there, but there's a lot that you can use this for practically that we already use it for. So that's the important one. Anyway, so all I wanted to say with this part of the conversation is that you need to upgrade your skills, right? We spend a lot of time talking about client meeting skills, communication skills, coaching skills, all of these things over the last number of years. We probably need to revisit our technical skills again. So our income tax knowledge and our estate planning knowledge, et cetera, but different conversation. But the one thing that we need to learn today is to be able to use this new technology effectively. It doesn't help having a hammer and you're trying to unlock a screw, or you want to unscrew something. It's not going to help for that, right? So important. I think, ultimately this all starts with mindset, by the way, as well. It's an important thing. It's about how you think about this, the meaning that you give to things, very important, and how you lead and the example that you give to your team as a leader in that business or in your practice. That's really important. So don't underestimate that, because if you're going to go no, then they're going to go no, and that's not what we want. There's sort of three aspects that, if you want to understand a little bit about the impact of AI on advice practices and businesses specifically. And if I say businesses, I'm really talking about whether you're in accounting or, maybe you're a tax practitioner or, whatever else. There are some things that's really important. And one of the aspects is growth and innovation. Just really helps you with that, because I can really use this to analyze existing things and spot trends, and then brainstorm and suggest and sort of unpack and research and do all of those things in an amount of time that is absolutely mind-blowing. So that's one of the things. You think about the kind of marketing campaigns. Another example. Recently, I had to put together an ad on short notice for something. And I did it out of my own accord. And they said that, but then I took that ad, I fed it into AI, and I go like, please review this ad and how can we make it better? And it gave me some examples, gave me some ideas, 7 of them, in fact. Made the little changes. One of the things I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Did some of the changes, regenerated, put it into AI again, and it said, well, here's 3 more small little tweaks that we can make. Did those, and it's pretty good, right? It's a lot better than if I just did it and sent it. So it can really help you with creating some really great looking things. You still need the design thing. Luckily, I know people, but the content, the campaign itself, the flow, the journey, the client journey mapping, like all of those things, AI can really help you with from that point of view. Creating ideal client personas, like who am I talking to? This is Francois. Francois does this. This is where Francois is. This is what's important to Francois. These are Francois' pains. This is what Francois is looking for. So that when I communicate in my marketing, I'm talking directly to Francois, not to anybody else, right? So that's important. So we can use it for all of those things. So anyway, growth and innovation, very important. I've already alluded to the fact that operational efficiency is really important. So we use automation a lot, right? I've now built over 100. The last time we said it was 91. I've now built over 100 automations for our business. And I see again on LinkedIn, people are posting, here's our content, freaking machine, whatever it is called. And then they've built this elaborate, and it's very impressive. And for somebody who doesn't know, they're going to go like, whoa, this is amazing. I don't know how to do that, but I need that. Please send it to me. Let me buy it, all that kind of stuff. But when you really use these things well, you'll understand that you don't want to build a massive automation like that. You actually want to break it down and build simple automations, because maintaining those things is a pain in the butt. You things are so complicated. If somebody else needs to maintain it, they don't know what the heck is going on. So there's also a skill behind building automations well and effectively. And, really being careful about automating the things that are simple first, and then later on the more complex things. We want to jump into automating onboarding, and we want to jump into those kinds of things, but it's not really helpful for us to do that. So, but definitely this can help with operational efficiency. And then also, at the end of the day, if we are growing and we're innovating and we have efficiency, we're delivering great service consistently, predictably, and quickly, then it means that we're going to have enhanced client experiences. And that's really what it is about at the end of the day. We're going to be able through all of this to understand that here's an opportunity to improve our value proposition. Here's an opportunity to serve an additional or a new market. Here's new needs that we never, or problems that we need to solve that we never knew existed before. That's what's going to come from all of this. There is already being reported that some businesses in general, not necessarily financial planning businesses at this point, but businesses who are using AI efficiently are seeing between 25 and 35% improvement in this. And again, this is not about going out and sort of incorporating AI into absolutely everything that you do. Some of the tools that you're using will have AI capabilities. Some of them will get AI capabilities shortly. So it's about how do you use those things. It's not about going out and investing loads of time into now getting your own weird and wonderful AI necessarily. Maybe if your business needs that, maybe later on, I'm pretty sure the product providers, asset managers are doing incredible things at their level that you will benefit from at some point. But again, you must be able to use those things effectively. Right. So why is this important now? Why don't you want to wait anymore? Right. We're not changing anymore. Change has already happened. Some people are just catching up with the wind, I think. Most people, in fact, if you look at where we are on the bell curve, we're just about to hit like that first. So we've done early adopters. There were a few of us, many of us probably, and we're now seeing a lot more people starting to adopt. So we're sort of getting into that. So it's still early enough to get in. It's still early enough to learn. You're not behind yet. But in a year or two from now, you're going to wish that you started at this point. So very important. Also, there's been new legislation enacted. Europe is very quick on this, and they released their AI Act. And one of the things that they sort of require in that act is that no employee is allowed to use AI unless they've been trained properly. So that's important, right? So I mean, that's best practice. It shouldn't be a law. We should not let people drive who don't have a driver's license. It's as simple as that. So it is important to get people on board now, and also to have a consistent way for everybody to use this in your business. You don't want people to run off and do their own thing, use their own tools all the time, etc. Also, obviously for those that are using this already, Sean, I see there's loads of comments. I'll get to that now. But you are falling behind those people, right? But you're not so far behind that you can't catch up. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if you then want to start learning, it's probably going to be a little bit harder. I quickly want to maybe chat a little bit just about the AI learning flow. So what is sort of the process? I'm thinking, maybe I can share a slide. Let me just see if I can. This is sort of the AI learning flow that we subscribe to, and sort of that we think people should follow in order to get the most out of their AI journey and learning things in a structured manner. And so there we go. All right. So this is the AI learning flow. So the first thing that you need to learn is how to properly speak to AI. and that's how to prompt. So we talk about prompting. And again, there's different kinds of prompting, right? There's prompting for engaging with chat models, the things like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, even Gemini, those kinds of models that you want to learn. But then also there's different kinds of prompting for when you do research, and there's different kinds of prompting when you use reasoning models. So even if it's ChatGPT, but it's a reasoning model that you are using, you want to know how to talk to it and what to give it and what not to give it, and how to give additional information and context and all of those good things. So that is the absolute starting point from this. Then you want to go to, okay, so now that I know what all of these tools can do and what they're really good at, because that's part of that understanding, if how do I talk to the different models, but what are they all good at and what do I use which ones for? Then you get to picking AI tools. Then you decide on, okay, so what is best for doing my meeting notes, and what is best for creating content, and what is best for strategy and for brainstorming and all those kinds of things. Once you've got that and you know what you use often and what you use it for, you've got your prompts, then you want to go on and build custom GPTs or AI agents, if you will, but it's not really an agent because an agent goes and does things for you. The custom GPT is basically just ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, just sort of structured that it does a very particular thing so that I don't need to repeat all my instructions all the time. And also, typically, those conversations are all nicely put together. But it's a GPT or a chatbot that does something very specific, right? So that's what makes it so powerful. Once you've done that, then we want to think about, how do I build AI workflows? An AI workflow has got to do with when do I use what, how do I combine these different tools with each other to get a particular outcome, etc. Then we get to adding automation, and automation may or may not include AI. There's many automations that we run within Propulsion where we do not use AI at all. And there are a number of them where we do use AI in order to do some of those things. So that's important. Then we get to building AI agents, because now building AI agents, they will do all of this, but they will make decisions and take actions on your behalf. So you can see how that is a much riskier approach, to just jump into, AI agent seems like the thing I need. Let's build one, or let's get somebody to build it for us, etc. So you really want to be careful around those as well. All right. So that's the AI learning flow. Hopefully that's very helpful. I've already alluded now to the skills also in that you need to be building. But if I can maybe just summarize that just briefly, if you want to think about how do you begin, it is prompt writing, it is tool selection, it is knowing risks and limits. That's also a very important part of this, and also some ethical considerations. That is where you want to start. Once you've got that under the belt, if you want to then go further, then we start looking at role-specific use cases. Then we look at GPT building. Then we look at advanced prompting, because there's a level to prompt here, but you can also take it to another level. And then all of the other things. But also you need to start thinking then at that point, what about your own AI governance within your business? What about things like that? So that also then becomes part of the next step. And ultimately, how do we stay on top of this, right? Because it's changing so fast. So the biggest tip I can give you today is that whenever you choose a tool, you stick to that tool and you learn that tool and you use that tool. Because the one thing I can promise you is this, and I've seen it now for 2 years happen month after month after month. Some people are going to go, ChatGPT is dead, Gemini 2.0 Flash, blah, 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 just launched. Okay, fantastic, it's dead. It performs so much better. And then a week later, ChatGPT launches their new model, and now Gemini is dead. Like, you've seen these things. So stick to your tools, know why you've selected those tools, and learn them and stay up to date with them. These things are not, no one is going to run away from the other. In fact, I read something in the week that said, like, most of these models are actually doing exactly the same thing, creating the same outcomes, because they're now so close to each other. And that's what's going to happen. So don't be chasing the latest tool. That is the one thing that you're going to do that's not going to serve you well. Then just about, responsibly using and implementing AI as well. You want to be transparent about it. I don't think people don't know that we use AI. When we've created certain or used AI for certain things, we would usually tell people, like, this was AI, this was us, or this was AI and we edited, or whatever it may be. A lot of my content that we create off the back of the show is all AI generated. If you're reading our LinkedIn newsletter, It is based off of the transcript of the main segment of this show that we then transform into a LinkedIn newsletter within under 5 minutes using AI, right? And very minimal editing, because it's not about, I don't want to sound clever, I don't really care about that. It's about summarizing the information that we spoke about and getting that into people's hands. Today, we're sending out our previous day of CPD certificates. With that day of CPD certificates, there's going to be an ebook of 24 pages, 25 pages that summarizes every single session that was done. An incredible resource. We did that using AI, something I have never, ever been able to do before. So the things that you can do for your clients, the things you can do with, if you are recording meetings, and the things that you can do with those, like, I think we're just scratching the surface about what's possible. The things you can learn about your client, the things you can learn about your business is incredible. The more we gather these pieces of information and then start analyzing them using this, but you want to be transparent about it, right? So when you are using AI, tell your clients I'm using AI and this is what I'm using AI for, and this is what I'm not using it for. It's very, very important. Also, obviously, data protection. The one question that always comes up is that, yeah, but can I put client information into ChatGPT, etc.? If you're using a free app, the answer is absolutely no, right? If it's a paid for app, you've got a choice, and usually, like ChatGPT, for example, will clearly state that they don't use any of your information. Best practice is to anonymize that information. They don't need to know who the person is. You don't need to include any personal identifiable information, because any information that you've got is only useful when you can link it to a person or link it to a specific entity. If you can't do that, it's just data. It's just information. So then it doesn't matter, right? So it's just about removing names, addresses, email addresses, ID numbers, those kinds of things. You want to remove that. The rest you can then use and do that. But if you're using free tools, I wouldn't put anything in there, because I don't trust any of the free tools. Free tools are great for getting started. We've got to be very, very careful with those. So you've got to make sure that you maintain confidentiality. And also, here's the kicker. So for those that jumped off before we got here, I'm sorry you're going to miss this, but the kicker is this. AI in any form, and by the way, when we say AI, we really say generative AI, is not a replacement for your expertise, is not a replacement for your knowledge. You cannot rely on what these things are telling you. I mean, we've seen this over and over and over again. When I read things, I'm like, no, man, you're like off the track. And it's just because I didn't give it the right information in the right context most of the time. But if you don't know what you're doing, this is the most dangerous thing you could ever use. Then don't use AI at all. Okay, so you've got to make sure that your knowledge is up to date, that you have the expertise so that you can oversee what it is that AI is doing and the content that it's creating for you, so that you can use that. So you've got to be able to use that professional judgment as well. So really, really important. So I guess my message to you is this, that, things are changing and they're changing very quickly. We all know that. It's not a case of, if you don't do this, you'll be gone in a year or two. That's not the case. But you are going to find it harder and harder and harder to be able to keep up and to keep up with others, right? And where we always said advisors can only look after 200, 150, 200, 250 clients, with this, you would be able to look after more clients, but spend time with those clients probably, because the back office is running really smoothly, and you don't need to sit there and do records of advice necessarily and fill in forms and do all those kinds of things, right? You can focus on your engagement with the client, focus on the advice that you're giving, and really add a lot of value. So at the end of the day, I really want to invite you to join us for our training series. You will not regret it. I can promise you that. It's guaranteed. It's going to be amazing. We spent a lot of time and invested a lot of money into creating the most amazing programs. And this is just the start. We obviously bring on more and more and more things, but we've got to start somewhere. And this is where we start. And also the other challenge is that many people are in different places and different phases and different levels of experience. So we always want to catch people and then sort of take them on a journey, so that we all get to the destination and make the most out of this incredible opportunity. Guys, thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you for all the engagement today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the 44 of you who've stuck here until now. And for everybody else that was here for the show, I really appreciate it. We will be having our first guest interview very, very shortly. And we look forward to introducing the guests to you as we go on. But on that note, I just want to say have a fantastic, fantastic Friday and a lucky weekend. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper, and stay curious and continue to raise the bar. Thanks for joining us on Propulsion. If you found value in today's episode, then there's plenty more where this came from. You can find all our previous episodes right here on the podcast as well as on our YouTube channel. And talking about the YouTube channel, we go live every single Friday at 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. and we host many different guests, and we also talk about very interesting topics. And on the live show, there's also some incredible segments hosted by some of the most well-known and influential financial planning professionals. So you are most welcome to join us every single Friday. Put it in your diary and we will see you there. And on that note, also please do check out propulsion.co.za/community for all of the goodness and learn more about how you can become part of our amazing community and how that would benefit you, your business, and your career. So on that note, stay curious and keep raising the bar.